Yesterday was Blue Monday, reportedly one of the most difficult and depressing days of the year. And I guess it kickstarts a week that most people can find incredibly difficult for a number of reasons. And a good friend of mine, who is also a business owner, an entrepreneur, and the leader of a business community called Shifties on Facebook, it's also on LinkedIn as well, ran a 24-hour live-a-thon to raise funds for the charity Mind, but also to raise awareness and create a platform for business owners to come and get support through a community, but also to share their stories. And Alex interviewed, I don't know how many actually, but I bet it was at least 30 business owners throughout the course of the day in short half-an-hour interviews, asking for their advice and for them to share with their community, with the Shifties community, a little bit about their background and advice they might have for people who might be struggling. And what transpired throughout the day was people opening up and sharing their own personal stories. And I had a conversation with Alex at 5:30 last night, and I hadn't planned to tell him what I told him, but I was inspired by all the different people that had shared their own stories throughout the day. If you look at Shifties on Facebook, you can catch up with the recordings. There were literally 24 hours of content, some incredible inspirational stories from people. But it got me thinking overnight. I shared a story of how in 2017 I had my own kind of personal challenges, a bit of a battle with mental health, brought on by a sequence of events that had transpired over 2.5 years, and that I hadn't really faced up to and until it became such an issue that I had to take some time out. And then I left the corporate world and retrained as a coach, set my business up, and it was kind of the catalyst for me to make a significant change in my life. And if I hadn't, I don't know where I'd have been. But then later on, Alex talked after my slot to a guy called Jamie Archer, and he said something while I was listening, and it was a reminder of something I knew but really resonated. Very often we share our highlights on social media. They become this highlight social reel rather than the reality of what's going on in our lives. And I'm as guilty as anybody. We want to post things that make us feel good, that make us look good, you know, pictures of successes, client testimonials, all that stuff. And it's true. It does make us feel better, but actually sometimes the reality can be more powerful and more helpful for people than just showing the highlights, the show reel, if you like. So I wanted to record this video just to say, you know, there were a number of things that helped me recover, that managed to get me back on track. One of those things was people, my connections, my friends, my family, my network, the people that reached out to offer proactively support. And this is a difficult time of year for many people. So if you are feeling that, remember that there are lots of people that are willing and able to help. And just having conversations, just connecting with people, re-establishing those conversations can be really helpful, because I know from personal experience, one of the things we do is unwittingly shut down. We stop having those conversations. We stop showing our vulnerabilities when we feel fragile, and actually displaying the vulnerability is the answer to rebuilding our strength and to strengthening our self-belief, our self-esteem. And it's interesting because the other thing that I reflected on overnight was that when we think about physical injuries that we've had in the past, and you think back to something that happened to you, maybe you broke a limb or a bone, and you kind of go, oh yeah, that was painful, but then you can almost smile about it. Whereas when it's psychologically affected, when we've had like a mental illness or a breakdown or something, it still evokes a really emotional response. It's not as easy to talk about in such a flippant and easy manner. And we carry that around with us. But it is important. The more we talk about it, the more we share these stories, the more we help other people. We help people normalize the conversation, realize that they are not alone, that they have support, they can get better, strengthen themselves, and recover from situations like that. So I wanted to share that because it's important. These sorts of messages are what helped me, and I hope in sharing this it helps somebody else. So have a great week, everybody. And it can be a really tough week this week. So bring up your acuity. Start to think: are there people that perhaps need a conversation, that might need some support? If you're somebody that needs some support, reach out to somebody. If you know me and you feel I can help, reach out to me. I'd really value having a conversation if I knew it would help. So have a great week if you can, and I look forward to seeing you on a future video and on the social streams.